I was a very, desperate druggie. And whatever was going to give me my fix, that's what I would throw anybody under the bus to get my fix.
Ben Stacy was a hardcore junkie by the age of 16. It didn't matter that he was the son of devout missionaries. It didn't matter that his parents loved him dearly and devoted their lives to faith and family. As a teenager, Ben blamed his parents for a lonely existence in a foreign culture.
I felt much like an outsider. I felt very lonely. I lived inside my head, and the thoughts went from being very open with my parents and very honest with my parents to building up these resentful thoughts. I laid all the blame on my parents, and because it was the easiest thing for me to do, I guess.
The Stacy family lived in Brazil, where drugs were readily available. Ben was smoking marijuana by the age of 13.
I remember just the smell and everything, and the first introduction to it, I was like, that's sick. That smells so disgusting, but here I was. I have to maintain this appearance in order to be accepted by these people.
The Stacys knew their son was in trouble, so they decided to move back to the United States to get help. Yet several attempts at counseling made no difference in Ben's behavior. He used anything and everything as his tolerance to drugs increased.
We are fighting for the life of our child. God, if something doesn't happen, we will not have him. I thought if I could just give him the answers, that I could take care of it and I could fix it. And then God showed me, he said, Penny, you've been working at this for years and you cannot fix Ben. Only I can fix Ben.
At 16, Ben was forced to enter into a Christian rehabilitation center. He was drug-free for 9 months. Then he relapsed. Ben was allowed to see his family for Thanksgiving. They celebrated his sobriety while he kept his drug life secret.
Although I was surrounded by people, it was a very lonely time.
I thought, finally, that he is finally about to complete the program and get his sobriety and get his life back.
We left there thinking he really is making progress, he's doing well, and very pleased.
It was a spiritual warfare within me, and I think, honestly, that there were forces that had a hold on me I couldn't fight them, and I definitely wasn't reaching out to God.
Ben ran away from rehab. He needed money for drugs, so he waited until his grandparents were at church.
I snuck into their house and stole a lot of money from their savings, and I took my granddad's revolver. It was definitely tough, but I would just talk myself through it. I'd be like, they really don't care about you, they don't understand you. I probably took over $3,000.
Ben started dealing drugs to support his habit. He spent almost 2 months running the streets.
When we were high and we were partying, it was great, but then as soon as we started coming down, it was a very scary place to be in.
Before long, the crowd that he hung around with took his money and even turned his grandfather's gun on him.
I remember saying that, I just don't care. Pull the trigger, it'll be better. I just didn't care about life. I was just a walking corpse.
With no shoes, no money, and nowhere to go, Ben called his parents for help.
When they got me back to Second Chance, I was dreading facing all the people that I had been conning for 9 months previously. But instead of hearing, I'm disappointed in you, how could you do this to me? I heard, Ben, I've been worried sick about you. I don't know, it just caught me off guard. It was like a secret weapon that I wasn't expecting.
This time, Ben's rehabilitation was different because he encountered the love of the one he had been running from all along. It happened in the middle of a small prayer group.
It felt like somebody was just bear hugging me. Somebody just walked around and grabbed me and was just pulling me up close. And when I kind of looked around, I knew nobody was physically touching me. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I just remember it saying, God, if you're real, it was almost a dare. I was like, just change me, make me not want to be this person anymore. I wanted just to be clean. I wanted innocence again. I wanted freedom. I wanted to live. And that's what he gave me. Something I did not deserve, which still blows my mind today is the mercy that I was given.
Within a year, Ben graduated from the Christian Rehabilitation Program. He now plays guitar and sings with a Christian rock group.
Music has just, I know that that's my calling that God's called me to, and in doing so, it's just an amazing thing to feel like God is using me instead of me using everything to my advantage.
The Stacy family is thankful they have their son back.
Such a blessing it literally is to have a son who was dead and is alive again.
In my past, I lived for drugs, and I lived for that constant high and escape. I would say today, I live for many things, but number one being to serve God. And from that, everything else just kind of falls into place.